Welcome, friends, to our final module in the course. We've almost made it. Thank you so much for sticking with me. In this module, we'll put a nice bow on things by summarizing what we've learned and putting it into best practices, and then take a look at trends and future directions in this exciting new world of generative AI. And then to wrap things up, we'll talk about next steps, and I'll point you to some additional resources if you want to continue your learning. Starting with best practices, we've covered a lot of these as we've gone along, but I thought it would be helpful to put everything in a single place here. But this first one we actually haven't touched on yet, and that's to use the latest model. That's the recommendation from OpenAI, and it's generally going to be the most powerful, capable model for what you're doing, especially if you have really complicated use cases. Next, use delimiters to separate instructions from context. We've seen this several times. You'll remember the hashtag delimiters, or triple quotes, or even hyphens, basically telling your model where instructions end and input begins. This next one should hopefully be obvious by now, but be specific, descriptive, and detailed. So a prompt to write a poem about generative AI is just kind of meh. A better prompt would be something like this: write a short, funny limerick about generative AI, focusing on image generation in the style of William Shakespeare. And then related to that, be descriptive and detailed about the kind of output you want by providing examples. Like this example we saw earlier, where we're extracting details from a resume. We say that we want companies in caps, schools in caps, skills in caps, and then followed by a list of skills in bullet points. And the same applies to output that's code or sample data or what have you. Next up, start with zero shot, then few shot. Meaning start with a simple prompt. If that doesn't give you what you need, then get more detailed by moving to few shot prompting. So remember, zero shot has 0 examples, really simple, classify the sentiment, and that'll just give you a response based on the general knowledge that the model has from its training. If that isn't giving you what you need, then move on to few shot prompting with a few examples of what you want the model to do. Here we want different classifications for sentiment: superb, meh, or neutral, and then we need to give it some examples of statements that would fall into those different categories. Limit fluffy or imprecise descriptions. This is kind of the reverse of the bullets above of being specific, descriptive, and detailed. So a meh prompt would be, write something interesting about history. It should be fairly short, a few sentences. That's pretty fluffy, pretty vague. A better prompt would be something like this. We're giving it a persona. Imagine you're a historian exploring the ancient city of Rome during the height of the Roman Empire, and then very specific instructions about what to write. A captivating account of the bustling streets, the grand architecture, vibrant culture, and then we're very specific on how many sentences we want with only 4. It's a best practice to say what to do rather than what not to do, so assertions over negations, since negations can make the model's reasoning a little bit more complicated. So, for example, a meh version of the prompt is to describe the process of photosynthesis without using any complex scientific jargon. So here we're saying what not to do. A better prompt would be, describe the process of photosynthesis in simple everyday language suitable for a middle school student. And then finally, for code generation, use leading words to nudge the model to a particular pattern. So rather than a prompt like this, where you're just telling it to write a statement to retrieve records, you'd want to do something with that leading word at the end, the select, so the model knows we're asking for a SQL statement or SQL query. If you're writing code, that leading word could also be something like an import statement for code.